If there were all-star teams compiling the best players from each decade, which decade team would be the best? Above me are the rules, and keep in mind there were so many amazing players I had to leave off, and there is no one right answer for these teams. Starting off with the 2020s, we have a good mix of playmakers and snipers on the first three lines. The fourth line is meant to be a checking line, as otherwise this team is a bit weaker in the way of defensive forwards. The defense is good with some fantastic puck movers, although I feel like it's missing that intimidation factor that you'll see from the defense in other decades. Although goaltending numbers have generally fallen in the 2020s, these three have been elite for most of this decade. The 2010s team can roll all four lines relatively evenly, as each line is built pretty similarly. There is an elite two-way forward on each line, as well as a mix of other types of forwards. The defense is very good, and there are other options that could be worthy of this team, such as PK Subban or Chris Letang. The 2010s had by far the most all-star worthy goaltenders to choose from. I went with these three for their consistency in both the regular season and playoffs, but I did consider other goaltenders such as Pekka Rinne and Tuukka Rask, not to mention some others as well. The 2000s team is filled with Canadians and Swedes, with a few other nationalities mixed in as well. I crafted the forward group with the idea that all four lines would play relatively evenly, with Zetterberg, Datsuk, and Hossa being an all-star checking line that would be sent out for a good portion of defensive zone faceoffs. The defense is fantastic, with the top four having synergy from playing with each other, and Lidstrom is the best defenseman out of all four teams. The goaltending is good, with Brodeur being the clear number one. Finally, we have the 1990s team. I don't know if this is just a case of primacy bias, but it seems like the 1990s were stacked in almost every category. I think this could be from the game going through so many changes during the 1990s, where we had high scoring in the early 90s and tight defense and goaltending in the late 90s, which allowed for more players to be perceived as elite offensively and defensively. But I just think this 1990s team is so good in every category. We've got the entire Penguins All-Stars on the top line, some Hall, Oates, and Yzerman teammate chemistry, and then a checking line of Messier, Fedorov, and Fleury. The defense had so many great options to choose from, and Patrick Waugh and Dominik Hasek are arguably the two greatest goaltenders in NHL history. So it's no surprise that I think the 1990s team would be the best team all around. While I do think the fact that we're only halfway through the 2020s hurts their sample size and potential, I think the 2000s are greatly impacted by the low event hockey, where I've pointed out in past videos how both scoring and save percentages were lower than the 2010s. And as a result, both forwards and goaltenders may be perceived as inferior. Here are my rankings for each category, but let me know what your thoughts are on these teams in the comments.